This is one of those tracks that even when I listen to it now, it just cracks me up. It's all a little bit much, and that was really the point. This chapter deals with work and working more and trying to pull more things out of workers and all of these things. And it's early 80s, so I put two and two together and thought this has to have the subtext of, well, drug use, especially specific white powdery drug use, which to me thinks go, 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 go. With that, it opens with a solo guitar line and then brings in the strings. Let me just start it from the beginning so you can hear it. I had a blast dialing in the side chain to get the snare to have this really specific reverb or ring, whatever you want to call it. And also about process about composing. This is one of those where I had the primary track. I did the guitar, the bass, and the drum parts. And then I sat to start writing the string parts, not really having an idea. And I started with little fragments of the first violin part, which on its own would sound like this. That's it. So I started with that, waited, and I added the next one. And from that came, well, maybe I'll add in another part that kind of mimics that. So now I'm going to play just with the second violin and first violin. So I started having this call and answer, and then I added the viola part to fill it in. And lo and behold, I ended up finding this idea of almost like a dirty tango, almost like dirty piazzolla or something like that. And I just went with it, and I thought it worked really, really great in terms of contrast of style from the rest of the track that was laid out, but also in its aggression and its forwardness of feel. And so out of that came this. Guitar, strings. So we have conversation between the guitar and the strings, and then the strings themselves are also having a conversation. And then we finally arrive. I knew I wanted to have a sprawling long melody that went over it that wasn't necessarily repeating, and I put it in the viola part, and that melody is this. Again, it's super fun to write this melody and really fun to play. And I keep saying that because for me, that's an important part. That when I'm writing and creating music, I don't want it to be just for the listener. I want it to be for the performers as well. That's why all of us who perform got into it. We love the sensation of performing. And if I'm going to be doing just boom chick or just these long held notes, well, that's going to grow tired after a while. So I wanted to make sure that when I'm writing these tracks, that every instrument feels like they really are contributing in some important way. That melody builds and builds, and then it ends with another little guitar wail before the final section. So here's what leads up to the guitar wail. For the final section, I had written the story months before, and somehow when I was writing that story, I always had this visual of what ended up being in the actual sound video that you can find on the ATC site for this chapter. I just imagined a waterfall of white powdery substance. It just entered my mind, and I wanted to find a way to capture that in sound, so I created this incredibly active inner parts. Some of the violins have it, a synth has it, against this, again, long sprawling melody. This is the technique I've used in some of the earlier tracks as well. This juxtaposition of incredibly quick parts, long sprawling, creates for me a really cool, specific feel. So let me just play some of the parts individually. I think that the second violins had, or is it violas? Oh yeah, the violas have this very active part that line up with so we have the violas and the midi nova creating this incredible tense, almost anxious feel. Then if I get rid of those, let me find just the melodic stuff. So against that, you have these really long violin lines that again are also in conversation, very similar to the opening of the track. So then we add all of it in. And it ends on a big question mark. Super fun track, another one of those set piece tracks from showing spatial in its early time. If you like the music, if you like what you're seeing here, be sure to check it out on the ATC website where you can read the story, listen to the narration if you want to do it that way, and watch the sound video, which also tells a story in yet a different way.